Round 8 of the Formula I F3 Championship takes us to Zandvoort in the Netherlands. Twists, turns, rises and falls. Which driver comes out on top this afternoon on Sim TV?
It's getting darker and darker, and there's just no way right now for these drivers to know exactly what's going to happen.
These guys are going to have to be really, really careful and tiptoe around the track until it's either stuck.
And not even 10 minutes into this race, and I feel like we've got enough strategy going on for a whole event, but still a long, long way to go.
There's Yellowstone, there's Yosemite, but for racing fans and for Grid Life's Elkhart Classic, the destination is Road America, the National Park of Speed.
Free ride in the front of the field here. Look at Emil Tab up the inside for the race lead. We head down to the first corner.
These guys have no idea what they're coming into. Look at this field. They're 2 wide, 3 wide, a couple places slipping.
Side by side for the race lead. 54, 48 through 3 and 4. Working lap number 60, 110 laps to go. Yusuf Ghali, power move to the bottom of the racetrack, making the short way work. They're going to touch down the hill.
This will be a great run for Fuller here.
Yeah, typically we'll ran off the track in the final quarter. That'll have Fuller to get a massive.
Here he comes.
Does he have a look?
Oh, big block here by Sanfilippo. Into the grass goes Ben Fuller toward turn 1. And Sanfilippo hangs on. He's loose. No! And he crashes hard in the exit of turn number 2. Don't try him here, boys. They're going to do it. Gritsko backs out. They touch. They're going to crash. Gritsko going to slam the attenuator hard into the wall. And Jared Tesson hits him as well. And big damage on these cars. That's a huge
Number 4, people are struggling for grip, going out of every single lane, even trying to then run. It's getting really insane.
Powered by AWS for the Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli at the Indianapolis 8-hour. We are 7 hours and 18 minutes into this 8-hour.
The braking zone for the bus stop.
This is where Brussi really seems to gain on the side.
James Houghton looking for a place to go, but he's got Austin Cobb to the inside. A bit of a gap behind. I think that's about 15th or 16th spot as they come out of turn 3. Big slide for this.
Getting a run. He's got it. Going to be a drag racing line. Final corner. Checkered flag waving. Here they come. At Virginia National Raceway. To the line. Thompson, Darling, door to door. Banging doors. Fender to fender. I can't believe what we just saw.
A week ago, the Formula I F3 Championship took on the Nürburgring in Germany. It was a wild race there, but this time we're going to head northwest and into the Netherlands for Zandvoort, round number 8 of the 2020 Championship. Welcome back to Sim TV. My name's Kyle Heyer, joined this afternoon by Connor Horn for 2 events this afternoon. We'll head for the Formula 3 Championship this morning, and then later today we'll do the Formula 1 Dutch Grand Prix for Formula I. This is going to be a fun one today. We don't really get to go to Zandvoort all that much here, Connor, but today, a relatively small field. We've got 12 drivers for this Formula 3 race, which means that the intensity level is going to be pretty high because there's a lot of points on the line for those for some of those drivers that might not usually be in points contention.
Yeah, only 2 people aren't going to earn points, so it's going to be really big. These drivers are going to be scrapping from the very drop of the flag to, go get those points. I'm excited to see how the racing is. Kind of a forgotten track on the sim is Zandvoort. Maybe it gets an update in the future, who knows? But for now, we're going here for the bit older banks here at Zandvoort. And I've never seen a race here, so I'm kind of excited to see how these F3 cars zip around this track.
Yeah, this racetrack, when it was updated this year, like last year, it really hasn't changed fundamentally all that much. Really, the corner that everyone talks about is turn 15. This is what it looked like back in the day. Now it's got a ton of banking added to it. Obviously, that's not represented here in the sim. But the rest of the track is relatively the same. I mean, the curbing is probably the older style, and there's a couple runoffs and things that have been adjusted. But otherwise, it's still relatively the same racetrack. I've seen racing here in Scar's Ferrari Challenge, and it always puts on a pretty good race. I don't think it's one of the better looking tracks within the iRacing service, but I think it'll put on a fairly decent race today. So 12 drivers in this. There's Jacob Toffs right now in the number 116 car. Again, him driving for the Sim Sport News team as he comes up off of one of the corners and heads down the back straight. You have to forgive me. Connor and I both don't know this track very well, so I couldn't tell you what corner we're in, and Finian, who did our camera sets for us, very nicely named all the cameras after the corner. So there's turn number 3, turn 4, turn 5, but that's pretty much the only reference I'm going to have for what corner we're in tonight. This is a 15-turn racetrack and not one that we visit a whole lot.
No, like I said, one of the forgotten tracks on the sim, maybe because of its visual appearance. Maybe people just don't like driving such a very tough and unknown track. A lot of twists and turns. Got some fast S sections, got a lot of hard braking sections as well in turn 1 and turn 12. So there's a lot of sections where you could be caught out. these drivers. Only 12 of them today, but they're going to have to be really careful to not get caught out by some of these really tough corners.
Circuit Park Zandvoort, constructed in 1939. The Zandvoort, Netherlands has a population of 17,000 people, a relatively small town for this part of the Netherlands. And 13 turns here. Actually, we've got 15 recorded, 4.29 kilometers around this circuit. So it's not super short, but it's short enough that lap times are under a minute 30 for the F3 cars. It's constructed from roads built by occupying German armies during World War II. So a little bit of a factoid there for everybody. We'll head down and show you the weather here in just a couple minutes. But with 12 drivers on the grid, I think the goal here, Connor, is don't be one of those 2 drivers that doesn't get points. Basically, all you have to do is have a clean day, and you'll be in the points. So I think for some drivers, the goal is not necessarily to win, it's just to not be last.
Yeah, the guys at the back, they're just going to have to focus on finishing because sooner or later, the drivers near the front will start trying to make mistakes. We'll probably see some battles for the top 3 positions for the podium. That's where these drivers could really get in trouble. If they get too antsy for those podium points, they might take themselves out. Guys like Jacob Toss, Jan McKilla, they might get too in over their heads, and you never know. They might slip up, and they might be out of a points just like that.
Katie Height in the RPM's DG Designs Racing team car, the 69 running 6th right now. Juho Peltomäki in the MPH Racing car, 5th place. And is this a surprise, maybe, that this car is not sitting on the front row with his teammate here, Connor, or should we not be worried? Do you think he'll get in here and get up in the top 2 in this last lap?
I would have expected Peltomäki to be in the top 3 at least. A bit surprising that he's down there in 5th behind, I believe that's Luke Barton in 4th, actually. Let me check that. Yeah, Vince Olivier Barron in 4th, actually. I do expect Peltomäki to be up the field a little bit more, but he's got decent race pace. He's usually got better race pace than Q speed, which is kind of surprising because you don't see that very often. You usually see the flashy times, but not really the race pace to go with it. He's a bit of the opposite, so I expect them to get a few positions by the end of the race.
And you notice on the left-hand side of your screen the timing and scoring tower. You can see the silver McKilla and Peltomäki team cars. So are Barton and Toffs, and of course Watson and Hensley also teammates, as well as Barron and Hansen. So you can see the team drivers all kind of crowding around each other. If you'd like to follow in real time, you can do so at simtvbroadcasting.com/timing for a live updated timing and scoring screen that will update throughout the day for both Formula 3 and for Formula 1. So Juho Peltomäki still working his way around the racetrack on a timed lap here. A little bit of obstruction in the way in the form of some other race cars on the racetrack. But with 20 seconds left, we'll get to finish this flying lap, and we'll see if he'll go quicker than his teammate at the top of the board. Other note that we should note today is that Jason Siemens will not be here to oversee the 3-stage qualifying, so it will just be an open qualifying today for the Formula 1 race. So no stage qualifying this afternoon, unfortunately, but we'll check in and we'll update you on that situation when we get there later today.
See what Peltomäki to do. See what he can do here. He's had some slipstream, maybe a bit of obstruction, doesn't matter now, but about to come in through 12 and 13. Really tight couple of corners here. Quick right, hard left, bit of a winding corner. That corner actually has a lot more banking now. Obviously, you don't have that banking to lean on with this old format. He's really getting very close to the back of Sebastian Jackson. Maybe getting a bit of too much slipstream, maybe starting to push a little bit, but it might be a really good lap. We'll have to see coming to the line. Jackson's going to pull away.
A little bit of a slipstream here for Peltomäki. That's going to help a 129.281. That's going to be slower than his previous lap, so he will stay 4th. So I don't want to say a surprising effort by Peltomäki, but a little bit shocked that he got beat by the 2 green cars right here, the SimSport News team cars. While they've been very solid, they have not quite been as good as Peltomäki and McKilla have been this season. So the MPH Racing team cars will be split by the guys in green today in 2nd and 3rd. Katie Height in the 69 continues to run in 6th. Martin Hansen out on the racetrack right now, finishing his lap. He will not improve. He will stop. Actually, he did improve that time, a 129.972, but it will not jump him up any positions.
Vincent Olivier Barron, sorry, I cut you off there. Vincent Olivier Barron on his final lap, I believe he just got all the way up to 4th at 129.128, so he puts Peltomäki back into 5th. Olivier Barron almost getting out of a podium spot early.
And here's Colin Black in the number 22, the MJCB Racing team car. Think he's on his own today in terms of that team, a 130.345, 1.4 seconds off the pole. But it will be Jan McKilla at the top of the board, Luke Barton, Jacob Toffs, Vincent Olivier Barron, and Juho Peltomäki in the top 5 positions. So with qualifying complete, we'll have one more look here at the weather. Connor, really cool conditions, and that tells me that it's going to be grippy and fast today.
They're gonna be really good up. You see the wind all the way up at 12 miles per hour. I don't know if how much of an effect that's gonna have on these F3 cars. They're usually very light and nimble, so we'll see if that has any effect. I kind of doubt it, but you really never know. That wind can be strong at times. So we'll have to see if that takes any effect on these guys. Kind of interested to see how Peltomaki does from 5th position. See if he can get into a podium spot early. Katie Height back there, Martin Hansen, they have pace here and there. So this might be a very interesting run into the first corner.
Well, you mentioned the wind up to 12, 13 miles an hour. It absolutely will have an effect on these drivers today. Not only will it maybe push the car tight or loose, but you could also have a condition where you have a headwind or a tailwind that could massively influence the drafts these drivers get. So if I'm all these other drivers, I'm taking a look at the weather. It's not typically something that you have to pay a whole lot of attention to outside of temperatures, but today I think the wind might be a factor here in this race. So with the field gridding up, here is a quick look at our starting lineup. On the front row, Jan McKilla, Luke Barton. Row number 2, Jacob Toffs and Vincent Olivier Barron. And row number 3, Juho Peltomäki and Katie Height.
Then on the last 3 rows, Martin Hansen, Colin Black. Then you have John Watson and Sebastian Jackson. Jackson, who was in Peltomäki's way, I believe, on that final lap. I don't think it impeded him too much. Final row, Scott Hensley, Adish Dabby Singh. I don't know if I've seen Dabby Singh in a while. So.
Yeah, he's been absent for a few weeks, but he is back, and he'll start at the tail of the field. So we'll see how he fares this afternoon. 21-lap race. This is going to go by relatively quickly. We've got 12 drivers, which is a small field, and that might mean we see some drivers take risks that they might not otherwise do just because they feel like the worst they can do is 12th, but that is still out of the points, so still a lot of considerations there. Waiting for John Watson to get up on the grid. You're watching Sim TV. If you'd like to watch live timing and scoring one more time, simtvbroadcasting.com/timing. Time to go racing from Zandvoort in the Netherlands for the F3 Championship in Formula I. Up in front, the 82 Juho Peltomäki. Jan McKilla, green flag, flies. We're racing at Circuit Park Zandvoort in a slow start for the 87 of Sebastian Jackson. He's going to drop to the tail of the field up front. Here comes the 12 of Luke Barton up driver's right into turn number 1. And around the outside goes Jan McKilla, but Barton to the lead in turn number 1.
The perfect start for Luke Barton. He was able to get alongside Jan McKilla right at the start there as he's going to take that early lead as they're about to go side by side. Martin Hansen, Katie Height almost going side by side there as we see a big lockup. I think that was Olivier Barron with the lockup as that's Katie Height trying to go right around the outside through turn 4. It's very tricky to do, but able to get it done there. Move almost done. They're still going to be wheel to wheel.
Now through turn number 7, high downforce here into turn number 8. You're going to drop off a cliff and head downhill right-hander. Barton with the race lead. Vincent Olivier Barron all over the back of Jacob Toffs. Clean start so far for everybody. I think we've gotten away without any crashes or contact. That's what's good about not having a whole lot of cars in the field. Colin Black is going to sweep around the inside of Scott Hensley, who goes wide into the gravel.
I'm not sure what happened there. I think Hensley just cooked it in too far. Katie Height and Martin Hansen.
Oh, Jan McKilla!
Spinner. Oh, that was McKilla. Someone else got involved. Vincent Olivier Barron has completely lost his front wing, so those two must have come together in some way, shape, or form.
Wow, trouble already for Jan McKilla in the number 2 car. And let's go back a little farther here and have a better look at it.
Oh, another one around. Juho Peltomäki's gone around
as
well.
MPH Racing, and it was one of the green, I think it was Barton. Oh, was there a touch there? Yeah, definitely a touch. Spins out.
Barton just spun on his own just now. My goodness.
What is going on?
Out of a final turn, Luke Barton from the lead has crashed. Jacob Toffs has damage. He has no rear wing. Katie Height has some front wing damage. Almost everyone's coming to the pit lane. I'm trying to see who's even in the race lead. I think it's Martin Hansen all of a sudden.
Martin Hansen has the race lead. John Watson to second. Colin Black into third. A chaotic way to start our 8th round of the F3 Championship. Peltomäki is out. And it looks like McKilla's way down on pace. Luke Barton with a bunch of damage to his car. Jacob Toffs is out as well. He's in the pits getting that car repaired, but big trouble for a bunch of our front runners in the points as Hansen leads the way down into turn 8 for the second time.
I think there might have been only 4 cars that got through that. These top 3, Hansen, Watson, Colin Black, and then Sebastian Jackson. Scott Hensley's 5th, and he went wide in one of the corners. There's a lot to unpack there. Pretty much everyone who's probably going to fight for the win, who was going to fight for the win, is pretty much out of contention.
John Watson sizing up. Martin Hansen going to cross him under. The TNT Racing Team car accelerates up out through the DRS sign, side by side for the race lead here. Watson drivers left, Hansen drivers right as they head down into one of the tighter sections of the racetrack, the chicane here over the curve for the number 7. He's real tight, and Watson tries to set him up, but he drops out for a moment. Colin Black sees both of them and wants to get by for that race lead.
You're talking about guys driving aggressive because they weren't usually going to be in the points. Now you're going to see these guys, these 3 specifically driving aggressive because they're going to be in a situation where they might be able to get a win. These 3 drivers, Colin Black, John Watson, Martin Hansen, they have not been in situations for podiums, let alone win. So this might get really interesting. That's going to be John Watson pulling the drivers right there into turn number 1.
Leaves them space, and they're going to race cleanly off into the first corner. Update on Barton and Toffs, those 2 teammates, 10th and 12th. Peltomaki and Makila are 11th and 6th respectively. But a wild start to this one. Sebastian Jackson up into 4th place in the number 87. He got a really slow start. Blessing in disguise for him as we climb up the hill for lap number 3.
I don't even know how we're going to be able to unpack everything. It all happened in one lap, happened so fast. The farthest up of all those drivers who've had troubles, Jan Makila is still in 6th, trying to chase down Scott Henson to get back into the top 5 at least. But Makila's got a long road to get to those leaders up there.
Over the curbs in turn number 8, 9, and 10. And Watson seems like he's struggling with the internet just a little bit. You see him popping out there, and that's a distraction for sure for Martin Hansen to have to keep looking in the mirror to check if that car is there. The bronze glittering in the sunlight here for Hansen in that number 7 car. Again, Hansen driving for Fukamuni Racing in the number 7, and his teammate Vincent Olivier Barron with trouble all the way back in 9th.
Yeah, it's really especially scary when you see that person lagging and dropping out behind you and trying to go for the passage. John Watson's going to not look up the inside. Smart move there, staying single file through a part of a track that's really not a passing. So, it's, like I was saying, especially scary when you see them dropping in and out like that. When they go for that pass, it puts you at an even bigger risk for some iRacing netcode. So you have to be careful when you're trying to defend a move from a driver who's really having big internet issues.
So our top 4 drivers within 3 seconds. He has to look 5 seconds beyond that to find Jan Makila, who's actually recovered pretty nicely to be in a top 5 spot. But without a podium, this would certainly be an opportunity lost for the number 2 car. But Hansen leads the way by 0.6 of a second over Watson. Another 0.6 back to Colin Black. Then you'll find Sebastian Jackson 1.3 back. Remember how horrendous of a start he had? He started 10th here. He is running 4th. Not a scratch on that car.
Yeah, it's a really good job to just get through all that chaos. He probably had to dodge at least 4 cars who were into the barriers like Luke Barton was, so it would be a really fine result just to hold on to the car. Jan Makila with the pace he's putting down will probably get the Sebastian Jackson. He might even get the leader still with the pace he's able to put down. But you never know the mistakes that Makila might make again. Sebastian Jackson's looking real pretty for a top 5 possibly if he can just keep the car on track.
Colin Black is starting to reel in John Watson just a little bit here. 0.6 of a second between them, but Watson has fallen off of the race leader now by 1.1 seconds as Black tries to reel in that 2nd place car. Jacob Toffs at the very tail of the field. He started in 3rd, and what a disastrous start this has been. That team, the SimSport News team, started 2nd and 3rd. Connor, I thought this was going to be a great race for them.
Yeah, Luke Barton immediately went to the race lead in turn 1. They were, I believe, 1st and 3rd. Things were looking up. All of a sudden, chaos started happening. It's almost like, I don't know, I don't know what could have possibly happened, but it happened to almost pretty much everyone in the field. Just one of the wildest starts you'll probably see all season. I mean, now we got guys who are really nowhere in the constructor standings looking for some very valuable points for their teams.
Yeah, Hansen, again, driving for Fukamuni Racing. His teammate still in 9th. That's Vincent Olivier Barron, who was involved in one of those incidents and went around for a loop early in the going. Katie Height in the number 69 for the RPM's DG Designs Racing team, all on her own today and running in 8th, and she's dropped down a few spots. Started in 6th, running 8th right now, but I think avoided damage on that car and is just a little ways back.
I believe she did get some left front wing damage. I think she came into repair on that first lap. A lot of people came into repair damage on that first lap. Can't really keep up with at least half the field. Olivier Barron behind Height, trying to hunt her down for that 8th position, excuse me. As Olivier Barron? Nope, that's Olivier Barron's having issues. I thought he had damage, but not quite. As starting to see these guys finally start to spread out a little bit. At least the top 3. Hansen and John Watson kind of spread out. They pulled away from Colin Black. Sebastian Jackson's on the charge trying to get a podium position.
Hansen leads the way by 1.1 seconds. That gap has stayed fairly constant over the last lap. Colin Black has dropped off pace a little bit. That's brought Sebastian Jackson right into the mix for the last step on the podium as they fight through turns 14 and 15 now onto the front straightaway. And Jackson now within drafting range of that number 22.
Yeah, but he better hurry because Jan McKilla is hungry to get back into his leading position, going way faster than these guys. Sebastian Jackson at 30.4, 29.3 for Jan McKilla, a second faster than everyone in the top three. McKilla is hungry.
McKilla again started up on that front row and getting turned around on the backside of the course has put him way back. And how impressive a performance would that be if he could drive all the way back to the front? I wouldn't put it out of question. I mean, he just ran a full second faster than everybody in the field. He's only 5 seconds back from the race lead.
And what's good is that pretty much all of his other contenders are pretty much out. They're way down the order. His next closest competitor in those front two rows on the start, Luke Barton, Vincent Olivier Barron, they're down 9th and 10th. Peltomaki Toffs, 11th and 12th. They're nowhere. This is all for Jan McKilla to take here.
Martin Hansen out up front in the number 7 car continues to lead this race. John Watson in second place, then Colin Black in third, Sebastian Jackson, Jan McKilla, Scott Hensley, DeBee Singh in the 7th spot, then Height, Barron, Barton, Peltomaki, and Toffs, the rest of the running order.
All those guys pretty much in contention for the win, at least podiums. Some of them aren't even going to gain points at this rate. Peltomaki and Toffs going to have to fight hard to get the Luke Barton 5 seconds up the road for those points. Vince Olivier Barron even farther up, so a lot of people are going to be very shocked and very happily surprised with the positions they're going to have. As the top two have pulled away a little bit more from Colin Black, and Sebastian Jackson is on the charge for that third position, but so is Jan McKilla.
20 minutes to go here in this 20-lap race. 0.8 of a second between the race leaders. I'm keeping an eye on Jan McKilla in that number 2 because that last time, again, he was significantly faster than the other drivers in the field.
He's going to have to try to make quick work of these two. He could lose a lot of time if he doesn't get by Jackson and Colin Black immediately here. John Watson, Martin Hansen, they were still slower than Jan McKilla, but only by a few tenths. So if McKilla gets really held up here, it could play a factor because we're going to run out of time pretty quickly.
A quick restart here on the timing and scoring software, and that is
Martin Hansen,
the race leader. What is going on today?
Trying to see what happened. I think he just spun around all on his own. Trying to see what... He just spun all on his own into, I believe that was turn 10, just all on his own. I'm pretty sure... Yeah, John Watson got damage from that, I think. John Watson's been turned around. Sebastian Jackson got into the rear of him.
Oh, my goodness. I think every driver's been in a wreck today at some point, one or another, and I don't know what's going on. It's like there's a full moon or something because even my timing software's got issues right now, lagging-wise, which I've never had an issue with this series. So there's something going on. There's something in the water here in the Netherlands today here, Connor, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't put it past iRacing to somehow manufacture all of this. All of a sudden, that puts Colin Black into a race lead, but that's not a good sign for pretty much Colin Black only here, because that puts Jan McKilla just that much closer to the race lead. Even more to unpack from this race. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Hansen's still third after all that with the damage.
So McKilla now back up to second place. Scott Hensley, he just found a way into the fence. And let's go back and look at what happened to Hensley. He was already off the racetrack and having problems of his own. And he comes back in, he'd already found the barrier. So we've seen a lot of what might be internet issues. I wonder if there's something deeper than that happening on the sim side. I wonder if, I heard people mention hardware issues today. I wonder if there's like a CPU issue with this track because it's making my timing software go crazy. We got about half the field blinking and having problems and a lot of inconsistencies in driving we don't normally see.
Yeah, it's really hard to unpack any of this. Pretty much everyone who's been at the front of the standings all season, at the top of the podium. Oh, Colin Black, a bit of a slide there, but all season long, these guys have been smooth, calm, cool, and collected. But all of a sudden, guys like Jacob Toffs, Peltomaki, they made very critical errors at places where you wouldn't expect them. Lap 1 is where you really take it easy, not really trying that hard. It's really crazy to see as Colin Black under heavy pressure from Jan McKilla. This might be the move for the win right here.
Here's McKilla, driver's right on the front straightaway, taking a look at Colin Black for the top spot. McKilla started on pole, got turned around, went to the back of the field, now back to the front. And Jan McKilla takes the lead for the MPH Racing team.
Unless McKilla somehow makes another mistake, I think that's the nail in the coffin for Colin Black. I just don't think he has the pace to hang at all with Jan McKilla here in the late stages, the second half of this race.
Martin Hansen hits pit lane from 7th spot. Luke Barton jumps up another position, and Barton is looking at Atish Devisingh right now as they come out of turn number 3. And so Barton, again, remember where he started, up in 2nd place. He took the lead on the opening lap before getting involved in an accident and having to come to pit lane to repair it. Ooh. Now he's trying to fight his way forward because McKilla, who was fighting with early in the race, has gotten back to the front.
Yeah, I think it's too little too late to contend for the win, but he still might be able to get back to the podium with how rough these guys are driving. Sebastian Jackson's still up there. I think he has some front wing damage, but he might be clean, not quite sure. He's still pretty far up the road. In that 3rd position is Vincent Olivier Barron, who's up to the 4th position, right? Yeah, up to the 4th position with Katie Height behind him.
Barton just took a big look at Devisingh, goes down the inside, moves his way back up into 6th place. Colin Black drops off the race lead by 1.6 seconds. And Sebastian Jackson up to 3rd place. What a run this would be for him today if he could finish on the podium.
Yeah, that'd be a crazy finish for him, Sebastian Jackson. I'm trying to see if he's even gotten any points. I don't think he's gotten points in a while. Italy, back to Monza, where he got a 9th place finish, all the way back probably at least a month. So this would be a big result to get not just better than 9th place points. He might be on track for a podium here as long as Olivier Barron can't track him down.
That's going to be a big question mark because Olivier Barron is flying right now at 1:29.901. That was quicker than race leader Jan McKilla last time by. So about halfway through this race at the line, big slide there for Olivier Barron through turn number 8 now, crawling out of the chicane. But McKilla flying right now at 1:29.95 last time by, and I think this is the driver to beat here, Connor, but we said that earlier. And now, that being said, when he got turned around, it wasn't his own mistake. He sort of got kind of spun out. So I'm not sure we'll see another mistake because I'm not convinced it was a mistake when he got looped around earlier.
I'm just trying to go back to it before anything else happens. He was away with at least 2nd place here. Just trying to look on my own. He actually was able to get by. I'm actually looking at it. He did get by Luke Barton at some point, and then Luke Barton just pretty much spun him around. So yeah, it wasn't a mistake on his part, just an untimely error by Luke Barton that sent him to the rear of the field. And McKilla has kind of gotten the best of Barton, kind of telling him take that, getting to the race lead, and likely the race win. He could just keep the car on all 4 tires, hopefully.
I think Vince Olivier Barron, yes, he just had another issue in the number 37. Here's a look at it. I think we're going to see him do here is the car is already sort of unstable, gets the curbing on driver's right, loops the car around. There is Katie Height around, again, I said it wrong. Katie Height, thank you. I'm trying to train myself, Connor. And he looped it around, and Height did a good job sneaking around the outside, but it drops Barron down to 8th. Now, the driver that loved to see that was Sebastian Jackson, because now he has a little bit of room to breathe. Here is Paltamaki in the 82, going around the outside of Barron for 7th, and vice versa.
Trying to recover now. That was a good job by Katie Height to get on the binders to avoid an even bigger crash, as Peltomaki a bit frustrated. He just got by Olivier Barron, even though Barron's kind of slid the tires a little bit. Peltomaki maybe lacking pace because of that incident earlier. Not quite sure, but I think one thing I'm seeing, these cars are sliding around a lot through the turns. They don't look stable at all. It's like a lack of downforce that these drivers have for this race specifically. A bit of a worn out surface here with the track not really being updated all that much might be playing a factor. Really rough track, pretty low downforce it seems, especially out of these corners, might be playing a factor.
These corners are strange because they're very wide and relatively flat, and they're sort of in between high downforce and low downforce. They're medium speed, about 80 to 100 miles an hour, where you're not completely leaning on downforce. You still need mechanical grip. These cars, they have a lot of aero grip, but you need to be going fast to use it. And there's a lot of corners at this racetrack. There's just that in-between speed that make it very challenging. And you're driving these cars sort of in a slide. With 13 minutes to go, McKilla leads by 6 seconds, but this has been anything but a straightforward race so far.
Yeah, like those turns, like turns 9, 10, 11. That's the stretch that's also turn 8. You really can see the lack of downforce really show. I've especially been seeing it out of turn 11. The drivers just really having to wheel their F3 cars out of that corner. They can't really exactly get on the throttle immediately. They kind of have to baby it like maybe you would at a short track in a NASCAR stock car. It's really interesting to see these drivers have to sort of manhandle a pretty light and nimble car.
Peltomaki watching him try to run down Vincent Olivier Barron in front of him. Watch the big curbs on driver's right on some of these corners. This is an old school style racetrack built in the late 1930s, so it retains a lot of old school, you know, kind of mid 70s, 80s character when it was kind of redone with those tall curbs that you do not want to run over with these cars. But in other places, the curbs are very flat and usable, so you have to be very careful where you're putting those tires over the edge of the white line.
Yeah, you really got to be careful, especially trying to see curbing out of turn 4. If you get out of that corner too wide, you're really going to be in a bad spot. Probably get beached on the curb as Olivier Barron with a big dive on Dabby Singh for the 6th position. He gets the job done. Now it's Peltomaki's turn. Oh, Dabby Singh crashed. Peltomaki into him. Dabby Singh spun and Peltomaki had nowhere to go, and Peltomaki is destroyed.
And that's it for Peltomaki. That'll be returning to pit lane. What the heck happened? We were pulled away for just a moment. And of course, as soon as I do that, they find themselves in an issue. Here's Dabby Singh, slows down, and Peltomaki, oh, he spins right in front, and there's the crash. Wow.
Yeah, he just locked it up when he immediately got sideways. Just nowhere for Peltomaki to go. Nothing of his doing as Dabby Singh's trying to limp home with a lost rear wing. But that's going to do it, I believe, for Peltomaki. I don't think he has any sort of fast repairs or anything like that. So he's probably going to drop all the way out of the points completely. Without a doubt, going to drop out of the points.
Oh, that's a huge, huge hit for him in the points and slammed the outside wall as well. So Peltomaki likely done for the day. A frustrating day. However, for MPH Racing, McKilla still holding the candle here. 8 seconds up the road from Colin Black.
Yeah, like I said, I knew Colin Black wasn't going to be able to hang. Just doesn't have the pace of these higher teams. Actually, about almost 2 seconds slower than Jan McKilla last lap alone. Sebastian Jackson even chasing him down, trying to get the 2nd position possibly. Katie Height, Luke Barton. Luke Barton's actually all the way up to 5th. Might be getting 4th from Height here just in a moment.
Barton again, remember he started in 2nd, grabbed the lead on the opening lap. Now chasing down Katie Height for 4th place.
Had to get the nose wing repaired after the contact with Jan McKilla. Now McKilla about to get the last lap in about 8 minutes or so, leading the race. Really nothing between him and that checkered flag. Luke Barton just trying to recover for a potential podium, as Sebastian Jackson is not too far out of reach just yet.
John Watson loops it again. And it looks like he'll get back rolling. Relatively harmless spin there. Won't even drop a position from where he was running.
Same corner I think he spun in earlier, so really struggling. I believe that was turn 10 again.
So who hasn't crashed today? Is Sebastian Jackson the only one?
I think you might be right. Sebastian Jackson got really close when I think John Watson did spin, so if it's anyone, it's definitely him. Everyone else has pretty much had some sort of incident. I don't know what Katie Height's gotten into. Maybe Katie Height.
Well, she had a little bit of left front damage earlier, reportedly.
That is true, yep.
So she did hit pit lane to fix that. I think Sebastian Jackson's the only one that has not been in a major issue today, and I really don't want to say that because then he'll find a way to get into one. With just about 9 minutes left, there's still time for mistakes.
Yeah, Katie Height's got to make sure she doesn't make a mistake here, trying to get around the lap car of Scott Hensley. Still fighting for his points as Hensley, as Dabby Singh is on track. He was on track limping a car home, but it's going to be a long road for Scott Hensley to get back into points. Really just holding up Katie Height, probably just waiting for a better time to let her go right here. Perfect time to let her and Luke Barton go.
So I'm hearing that there was definitely something amiss today. Trevor Anderson reporting that there was software and hardware things that were going wrong. I think that this must be on some native Dutchman like burial ground or something, like Talladega in the U.S. There's something amiss today.
I think that would have been in your track facts, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it probably would have been. I mean, it is made out of German-occupied Army World War II roads, so maybe there's some haunting of this racetrack going on, but there is something, and I'm not kidding, there is something going on today that's distracting both the drivers, and you obviously notice the timing and scoring showing the white flag. I had to reset my timing and scoring to avoid it crashing because there was something that was holding it up and causing it to glitch out. So there is just some sort of alien force today that does not want this race to happen.
I'm sure Katie Height made sure that. I'm sure Katie Height's hoping that alien force keeps the craziness up and maybe gets into Luke Barton's head in some way, because she's going to be under attack really quickly here for that 4th position. Luke Barton is charging.
And Barton A 1:29.697. That was the quickest driver on the racetrack, at least inside the top 5 right now. So he is closing on Katie Height. You see the ground closing now. 5 car lengths. So she misses the apex big time. Here comes Barton now with a big run.
Barton with a huge run. He's going to try to do the over-under here through this turn. Katie Height really, look at these guys all over the place out of that corner, especially Barton not close enough to make any sort of ground up into 12 and 13. Oh, he's going to be really aggressive under braking to get even closer to Height.
Really, really solid run through the braking zone for Barton. 7 minutes to go. He's got plenty of time. Don't rush this now. He'll get a big slipstream here on the front straightaway and should be able to make this pass look relatively easy.
We'll see about that, getting that slipstream, getting ever so close to the rear diffuser of Height. Not the run I expected him to get, but it should be enough to get the drivers right into turn number 1. Have a little bit of a dive, maybe clear her before they even get into the apex.
He's out of gear. He was on the rev limiter all the way down the front straightaway and almost clears to come up. They touch!
Wow, I can't believe they didn't crash. Luke Barton barely held on. He got the position done, whether it was a bit aggressive or not, job done.
I mean, here's a look. This is, oh my goodness, that was close.
I thought they were gone. I thought Barton was going into the barriers, but somehow the iRacing gods, who have been really screwing with everyone, can just let him go there.
You'd think.
Katie Height not giving up yet, trying to get the run back into this long downhill section of the track. Barton holds on.
I think the iRacing gods were angry. I think they just missed that one. Happened too fast for him to smite everybody in that instance. But Katie Height drops back down to 5th. Barton up to 4th. Jan McKilla leads by 13 seconds. Colin Black now under pressure from Sebastian Jackson, who's having a career day so far in the Netherlands.
Yeah, not even a question would be the run of his season. The season opener in Elkhart Lake, I believe, was his best run, getting 10 points there. Other than that, the 9th place at Monza, that's about it. This would be a huge podium finish for him. It would be even better to get on to the 2nd step of the podium instead of a bottom step. With everything that's going on, he might get the top step.
I know. We honestly, your guess is as good as mine. Here's a run down the front straight, out of gear again. Jacob Toffs has just had an issue back in 8th place. We'll go back there in a moment, but Sebastian Jackson has a look for 2nd. Can't quite get there. Toffs in the 116. I think he just looped it. We'll go back here and have a quick look and see exactly what happened. Just caught the grass and looped the car around.
Yeah, I was driving the car in a test drive before this all started here. It's really difficult to get out of that corner cleanly. It's a very wide corner, but it's very easy at the same time to go too far and into the grass and to spin yourself out. It's a very deceiving corner.
Less than 5 minutes to go. McKilla now 14 seconds out front. Colin Black defending from Sebastian Jackson. They head down the hill, and the 87 looking for a career best day here in the Netherlands, right behind the 2nd place driver. Oh, he's off! The 2nd place driver's off!
And just like that, that's pretty much it for Colin Black. He'll still hopefully be able to stay on the podium. Luke Barton's gone off in the same exact spot. These literal same exact spot that Colin Black just went off. He made the same mistake, and now he's going to have to chase Katie Height back down.
Katie Height through to 4th again. Colin Black down to 3rd. A chaotic race here in Zandvoort this afternoon. I cannot wait for the Formula 1 race. If we thought this was chaos and confusion, just wait till we get 800 horsepower race cars out there.
I don't know if I want to see that. It might get even crazier. I might see cars flying into the sky for all we know.
I would not. We've seen that before on Sim TV. Not in Formula I just yet, but we will.
Oh, well, hopefully not in Formula I. You really never know.
Just under 4 minutes remaining. And Jan McKilla, other than the spin that happened at the beginning of the race, he has been flawless today. And 15, make it 16 seconds back at Sebastian Jackson. Now all eyes shift to Katie Height in the number 69 because the Height and Barton had swapped positions once or twice before. Barton looped it, and now has to chase Height back down all over again.
Kind of interesting. Through turn 4 there, you saw Katie Height kind of get a wider arc, entered way higher in that corner, while Luke Barton stayed way closer to the curbing throughout the entire corner. So different corners in that part of the track. Very interesting. You probably see even more lines being used there with the new configuration. You have a lot more banking in there, but even still with a bit of a flatter turn, you're still seeing a lot of drivers going in different directions.
Through 12 and 13, now they'll disappear behind the trees for a moment before they pop back out the other side. Katie Height trying to hold off Barton. Barton was half a second quicker last time around. Will be coming to 3 laps to go next time by the stripe.
Yeah, hopefully Jan McKellar can keep the tires on it. He's pretty much got it made. Colin Black trying to chase back down Sebastian Jackson for that second position, but I think Jackson's got way more pace anyways. I think it's a lost cause for Colin Black, just trying to keep the car on the track himself so he doesn't lose his podium position to Height or Barton.
Yeah, Jackson was quicker than Black before the mistake. I'm not sure that that'll change around a whole lot now. 3 laps to go for the race leader, Jan McKellar. See Height dragging Barton across the racetrack to try to break that draft. Unsuccessful as that gap closes now down to half a second, 5 car lengths into turn number 1. Look how much tighter Barton is right up against that curbing.
We'll see how tight they get the curbing in turn 4. They're going to go through a right-hander turn 3 here. We'll see how wide Katie Height takes the entrance. Way wide, Luke Barton. Katie Height kind of goes to the middle line there, a bit more of a defensive entry there, making sure Luke Barton had no look, a bit of a dive to the inside there, shutting that down quickly.
Through turn number 7, now the high-speed sweepers. Height, Barton, now 0.4 of a second separated into turn 8. You're going to drop off the cliff again. Barton's going to close here with the downforce, going to trust the car, trust the tires to make him get through the corner. Now, quick juke to the right over the curbing. Barton's really aggressive over the concrete stuff. Now tightens it, a little bit wider entry, and closes now down within a half a car length. And Colin Black's not that far up the road there, Connor, too.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he made a mistake or what. Katie Height going very defensive in these last couple of corners onto the dirt a little bit. Luke Barton's going to have a huge run into turn 12. Going to driver's right. Bit of a tight section to go for the pass here. He's got to really dive it in. Don't want to go too wide through these corners. He's going to get the job done.
Yeah, nice pass by Barton. Now, with that pass completed, now podium is at risk here for Colin Black. He's got 2 laps to make it. As we come on through, Jan McKellar, though, he's already through turn number 1. So, yeah, it's 2 laps to go. Sebastian Jackson, second. Colin Black, though, can he last 2 laps and keep that green number 12 behind him? That's a tall task with how fast Barton is coming.
That's true, but he was 0.3 faster than Sebastian Jackson at that time, so Jackson's not completely out of the water just yet. Definitely still has security there as Katie Height has a bit of a dive on Luke Barton, but still the fight for these 2 podium spots not quite over just yet.
Remember that only 2 drivers will not earn points. Those drivers, as it stands, Scott Hensley and Juho Peltomaki in the 82. That's huge for Peltomaki, who is towards the top of the standings. It's going to be a bad day for him to be out of the points entirely. McKellar, by 19 seconds, is out up front. No contest there. Behind him, though, it's a hornet's nest. Sebastian Jackson, then 1.4 back to find Colin Black. And Barton now 0.8 of a second back. With 1 more run down the front straight when we're coming to the white, he should be there. And Black better get ready to get defensive.
Yeah, Luke Barton will be there, but Katie Height's not quite out of the picture just yet. Barton not able to shake her, really, just pretty much bringing her to Colin Black. As Colin Black, bit of another mistake there as Luke Barton goes even wider out of that corner there. These 3 are going to be really fighting for this 1 podium position. Katie Height is staying with them.
Running out of time, running out of laps. White flag for Jan McKellar, but it's still about a lap and a quarter for everybody else because of McKellar's massive lead.
He's waving like it's a checkered flag.
It is checkered flag.
So this should be the run up for the checkered flag. This is the run for the podiums. Colin Black might have it made. He might just have enough time.
I don't know. It's going to be close. Barton's going to have a huge run here as they come out of the final corner. Drafting, checkered flag, waving for Colin Black to the line. And he's going to get there just by a nose. Barton 4th, Height 5th.
I had a feeling the time was going to run out, but I wasn't quite sure. So that was the run for the podium. Black holds on for 3rd. Katie Height 5th behind Luke Barton in 4th. Vince-Olivier Barron comes home 6th. Martin Hansen holds on for 7th. Jacob Toff still coming through 12 and 13 in 8th place.
Well, I think that ending was indicative of the chaos and confusion. We felt that entire race. Something was amiss, and Jan McKellar brings it home. While everything was crazy, something was still normal, and that was McKellar taking home a checkered flag here in Formula 3. What a race.
Yeah, I don't know how else to describe that. We probably should still have another 10 minutes to unpack the lap 1 incidents, because that was just all over the board. Not what we expected whatsoever coming into today.
Yeah, that was the finish. I did just double check, because who knows at this point. I think there is someone cast a spell over the Netherlands today, and Circuit Park Zandvoort, a tricky one. Well, we are gonna take a minute. Again, Formula 1 has open qualifying today, so we're gonna jump in there a little bit later. I do want to go back and unpack the first lap of this race, so give me a minute and we'll pull that all up and we'll get a good look at exactly what happened on the opening couple laps of this, because I don't know if anybody knew what was going on.
The first 10 or so corners, it was pretty much orderly. We were even talking about how all 12 drivers made it through pretty smoothly. I think we saw, I'm trying to remember who it was who went off. Some person went off in 11, I believe. Someone went way too far into turn 10. It was in the turn 10. Someone went way too far in. It was Scott Hensley who overshot turn 10. And then pretty much, to be honest, all hell broke loose from that.
Yeah, here's another look.
It started with McKilla getting turned. That was the first thing I remember happening.
So let's go back. Well, at first we saw, I think it was it Watson that had gone off? It was Watson or Hensley that had gone wide, but that
Watson.
was over in turn 8. So we skip ahead a little bit and find what happened to McKilla, and this is where all hell breaks loose. Skipping ahead, you see the 12 run wide. McKilla goes around, and then Barton gets into the back and turns him.
They all stacked up there. The top 4 really stacked up, and that's why I think Jacob Toffs lost his rear wing, I believe. He lost his rear wing. I think that was Olivier Barron who ran into him. Yes, it was.
And then the 2 teammates, then Barron, wow, just absolutely obliterates the back of Jacob Toffs in the 116. And that's, again, once that happens, everything else sort of went from there.
We got to look at the run down the backstretch, because even more happened down the backstretch.
Right there.
That's where Katie Height got the front wing damage. Peltomaki just kind of bulldozed her off the track. I have to see that again. They're almost 4 wide after all this. They're all scrambling, trying to get around each other. We're 2 wide. Someone's in the grass. Peltomaki kind of just swerved to avoid. I think that was his teammate, and just nowhere for Katie Height to go.
And then Height, then another big lockup here, and it's just so much confusion. Oh, and then the tire gives way on the Peltomaki car, and that's what sent him back around. So just in all, a chaotic, crazy race. Here's one last look at our race results. I think these drivers will look very much forward to going off to the next one and trying this again, because today was a bit of a mess. It'll be Silverstone in 2 weeks' time that will be heading back for Formula 3 action in Formula I. Wow, I don't know where to go from that one,
goodness.
But
I don't know either. There's the one more thing. I think the Luke Barton spinning out of the final corner is what finally put the icing on the cake there. It was out of the final corner, because the only damage I'm pretty sure he had was a little bit of front wing damage, and he just got 2 sideways. The car just came out from under him in the final corner. He went smashing into the tire barriers.
well,
It's funny because Jacob Toffs, who was coming into pit road to repair damage, he got the lead from all that even without a rear wing, so he could have gone out there and stuck it out, but he needs to get the rear wing repaired.
Well, hopefully next time will be a little bit less chaotic. Thanks for watching Formula 3. We're heading over to the Formula 1 broadcast here in just a little while. Not going to boot right up since it's open qualifying today. We'll be with you there in just a little while. Thanks for watching on Sim TV. A crazy race. Well, hopefully next week or next time out, things will be a little bit more orderly, at least up here in the timing and scoring and booth side of things. And the racing, I'm sure, will be just as good. We'll be back with Formula 1 in a little while.